business has a story, and today we're sitting down to find out more about the people and the local businesses in our area. Welcome to Tea Time with the Central Virginia Business Coalition. I'm Heather Alto.
And I'm Mike Norfield with Visiting Angels of Lynchburg, America's Choice in Home Care.
And we are here today with Melody Divers with Chapel Creek Farms. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Are you ready to spill the tea with us?
Oh, yes, let's.
Okay, great. So let's just start off with, tell us a little bit about the story behind Chapel Creek Farms.
Yeah, awesome. Well, everybody probably knows by now that the farm is named after our boys. Creek is our oldest son and Chapel is our youngest. And when the opportunity came to us to farm full time at a large level, that was an obvious. There was no questions asked. It was going to be Chapel Creek Farms because the boys' names have meaning, and we wanted our farm to have meaning as well. So kind of a legacy there. But the real story, not just behind the name, is that we were approached by an area cattle farmer that was ready to retire, but did not want to see his farm, cattle, property go to waste or all his knowledge go to the side. And he asked Johnny if he would be interested in buying him out. We thought about it. We always knew agriculture was going to be a part of our life. Johnny majored in agriculture at Ferrum. It was always a part of our background, but we never knew it would go to this level. Mm-hmm. So, you know, some people like to go to Vegas and gamble. We farmed. That's how we gambled. And we did the thing. I taught school for 15 years. Johnny had a cleaning and landscaping business, and we just put all the cards into farming, and we farm full time. We're actively buying out the farmers, and we have added more to what we started with as well. So we not only grabbed onto that opportunity, but we've expanded as well.
So as you started that adventure and kind of told us that story, like, was there a moment that you knew this was the right choice? This is what we're meant to do?
I am very blessed, and I'm going to get up in my feelings, that Johnny is not only like my best friend. He has never steered us off a good path, whether it's relationship wise or financially. He's just a steady. And so when this was proposed to us, I could not wrap my head around what it could look like, but he had the vision and I trust him. And so his track record was wonderful, so I had no reason not to believe him. And he kept showing me the numbers. He kept showing me that this is what can happen if we do this, if we apply ourselves, all of these things. And so I was like, I'm in, I'm doing it. And then I think he really knew I was in when I handed in my resignation after teaching school for 15 years, because that was my dream job. Mm-hmm. So it was just a nice couples moment where you just really trusted each other and you knew the other person wasn't going to steer you down the wrong path.
Mm-hmm. What was kind of your inspiration, though, to take the leap? Like, was there just I know you're talking about this certain moment, but what kind of inspired? I mean, even Johnny maybe even getting into agriculture. Is that just with the family?
We both came from agriculture backgrounds. And farming in our life, we always knew it would be in our life. Again, had no idea that it would be at this level. Again, in my feelings, God is good. I'm just going to say that. Whatever you think, he's going to surpass it. And this is an example of that. We always felt comfortable with agriculture. And so I do believe, I was probably quietly missing my boys and missing being at home and things like that. So when this opportunity came around, it was, you can be at home, but you're going to have to contribute to the farm. Can you do this? And I was like, yes, sign me up. And it just seemed like, I call it's our new chapter. Mm-hmm. Like we had a great, those years were great when I was teaching and the boys were little and Johnny was perfect little Mr. Mom in the morning, getting them to school and everything. But it was just a natural transition into this new chapter of life. It just seemed like it was the right fit. It was time for me to come home. Mm-hmm. And then the boys started homeschooling. So it was like we all just needed home. For whatever reason, we were being drawn home.
So what do you think has been one of your biggest challenges?
Oh, my goodness. I I try to be so uplifting about, even on a bad day, it's still a good day because I'm not punching a clock, that kind of thing.
Right.
But some of the challenges has been, I have no business background. Johnny does. I'm not a numbers person. I'm not, a marketing person. So I had to learn all of that on the fly. And I studied people. I studied platforms that were, like really successful, whether they were farming or not. And so I am proud that I can say I'm self-taught. I have a lot more to learn, but that was a challenge, like becoming a businesswoman.
Mm-hmm.
But, and, I've been supported in various avenues.
Well, what keeps you pushing forward?
Well, if you know me just a little bit, my family means the world to me. And I think a legacy is very important. Like, what are you going to pass down to your children? Maybe there'll be grandchildren in my life one day. But I just want to keep going, and I want to, make a name for ourselves. But also, Johnny and I, we always kind of lean into, our grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
We feel like we're accomplishing maybe some things that they wish they had have done. And we just kind of feel this inner pride that if they were here, they'd be like, yes, they did it. They did it. Their own family property doing this, or we taught them that, or, this work ethic, it's all coming together, the full picture. So I think what keeps us going is just, it feels right. It feels like, this is what we were meant to do.
And you touched on this a little bit, talking about how somebody approached you with the farm, but like, why Central Virginia? And is that important for you, or was it just the opportunity? The
opportunity was here. Our family roots are here. Now, I'm not from here originally, but when you have children in a state, that becomes where you're grounded. So I just felt like this made sense. It wouldn't behoove us to go look somewhere else because this is home.
Mm-hmm. So how has the Central Virginia Business Coalition helped with your journey?
Like I said before, in the beginning, I had no business background, and I really leaned into the opportunities, whether they were broad or just I could call you up. Can you help me with this? I need help marketing something. Can you put it, help me with this? I just felt like it was a judge-free zone. If I had a question that now I may think, oh, that's a silly question, but I felt like I could come and be like, I'm being very vulnerable and very transparent. I need help with this, or what does this look like? Mm-hmm. And the other thing was just being surrounded by folks that knew what they were doing. It was good company to keep.
Yeah. No silly questions.
Right?
Yes. I see that now, but at the time, I felt like an imposter.
Oh, I feel like that all the time.
Like, these people know what they're doing.
Yep.
I don't know what we're doing.
Right.
That kind of thing.
And sometimes the easiest way to get support is give support. And so like you came on the podcast, and now you're doing a podcast yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think you were nervous the first time you came on the podcast a little bit, from what I remember. It was a while ago. So, but now like you're doing your own thing, and also like that, and able to bring other people on and help kind of support them and support agriculture in general.
Exactly. So, I'm always going to be an educator at heart. So a podcast to me is just a natural thing to do, because it's a way to educate the community. I am on the board for the Ag Advisory Board for Bedford County, and that has given me the position to be the chairwoman for the PR committee, which trying to get PR out about ag in Bedford. And so Media Squatch has been so lovely to let us host a monthly podcast and get to interview folks and really just broaden the community's understanding of what Bedford County's ag has.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I am a little disappointed the podcast isn't called Look Cows, because nobody drives, like that would be great, but that's just me personally.
I know, but there's other animals with
there's a lot. There's chickens.
Yeah, so we would hurt somebody's feelings.
Yes. What do you appreciate about your local customers? And so from seeing Chapel Creek's Facebook and things like that, I know you have a great appreciation for your
gosh, like I could cry. Like, I'm being serious. Like, our customers are not just in this county. We have really reached folks from Richmond, Virginia Beach, Campbell County, folks in Buena Vista, the lake. I can't even tell you, Roanoke, Salem, folks are making the drive to come get our product, their grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And when you really stop and think about all the places they passed to get to your store in the middle of nowhere, you can't help but be thankful. Like, it is just so rewarding. We've been blessed to attract folks that have good manners, that are kind. They understand we're a family first, a business second. We really don't have rude people that come. We're just overwhelmed. I know it sounds, but we're so blessed that we really have people that are really looking for good product, but they are themselves are good human.
Yeah.
And it's just this whole wonderful connection.
So, I know we talk about with the Central Virginia Business Coalition, we're all about supporting local. Tell us, really quickly, what local products do you have that people can come out and purchase?
Yeah. So, we have a large cattle operation here in Bedford County. We have over 1,000 cows. We're spanning over 2,000 acres. And in that, we have our beef that we sell. So grass-fed, grass-finished beef you can buy in bulk with our beef share program, which is a quarter, half, or whole. Or you can just come to our storefront on the weekends in Montvale if you want to get some burgers, steaks, roasts, things like that. We have monthly specials and promos and things like that. So those are the things that we offer on the regular. And then a seasonal option that we have is our cider that is pressed with local apples. And that's normally mid-October to mid-December. So just a few months for that. Okay. And then we do a few agritourism events throughout the year.
Awesome.
So, and we've been a customer, my wife and I have been a customer a few times. And my favorite thing is we were like, what do you use this for? And you gave us like a whole recipe and we went back and made it. It was amazing. So like, it's that the customer care goes beyond making sure people get good beef. Like also, if you want to know the best way to cook this is what we do. And we really like it. And
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We try to, I think a lot of people like coming out to the farm because it's the experience of talking to the folks that are raising your animal. But also the drive is pretty and just you're not going to get that at a box store. You may have that wonderful worker there. I don't want to slant them, but we want it to be an experience.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we're going to do a few quick fire questions.
Okay.
The first one is the most controversial question that we ask.
Okay.
And that is sweet tea or unsweet tea?
Sweet.
Okay. And what's your favorite local business other than your own?
Oh, dang. I saw this last night and I'm going to have to go with our photography because they have helped us out a lot with our family photos, look super wonderful, but also for our marketing on our website. We had folks come from a substantial distance, pointed to our family picture and said, that is the reason I'm here, is because I saw you were a real family.
Wow.
And it was our most recent photo. So when the boys get upset, we have to do another family photo. I'm like, the website has to be updated so they know we're real and, that kind of thing. So when they said that, that really locked it in. So I'm going to give kudos to Jen.
Okay.
Yeah. What is the best business advice you've either given or received?
The first advice when we started a beef share contract, we were told, get it in writing. So when we started doing beef shares, they said, don't do word of mouth, have it in writing. So that was very good advice. And to date, we have not had anyone back out of a beef share. We've not been stuck with it. So I thought that was good advice. We have it in writing. We accept the deposit. Last year, and we've been doing this for over 5 years, we worked with 145 families with beef shares.
Wow.
So take that by 5 years. Some years, that was our biggest year, but so we can safely say we've worked with, hundreds of people and no one has backed out. And I took that advice, get it in writing and make contract. The other thing that I like to say for business advice is you don't have to do everything at once or in 1 year. So Johnny and I, even small things like this is the year we're going to buy bigger freezers. All right. Does that go well? All right. This is the year we're going to really spend money on our website. Okay, did that go well? So we don't try to do everything at once, but we have an end goal of this polished, curated, really great look, but also a great product. So we don't want to get too big too quick. So we want to make sure the hospitality is there, the technology is there, but we also want to make sure that the good old-fashioned conversation is there as well. So that's our advice is don't get, as my grandmother would say, don't get too big for your britches. Make sure it's slow and steady. Mm-hmm. That you have it all covered and not try to do everything at once. Because if you do, you could really mess up your time resources and your financial resources. So we want to make sure we're being good stewards of our time and money.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest myth in your industry?
Yeah, I read this one to Johnny last night and we went off on a tangent. So I guess my knee jerk is when people say, must be nice. Well, it is nice, but do you know what it took to get here? And it takes a lot of hard work and behind the scenes work. And we are full-time farmers. This isn't our after work job. This isn't our weekend job. And we put all the cards on the table. So when people say, it must be nice, you don't know the sacrifices.
You don't just go to the store on Saturdays and clock in and sell stuff and then go. Like, you are literally creating the product
yes, from start to finish. I tell people, like, I put more hours in doing this than I did teaching. And a lot of times teachers are well known for bringing work home and spending a lot of that time, their family time, on their school work. And I would say I easily spend more time on this than I did with teaching.
Yeah.
Okay. What is one thing you wish you had known before starting your business?
That confidence is epic. You can do so much when you have confidence, not a haughty confidence, but a confidence in your product, confidence in how you market. You know how I said earlier, I felt like an imposter when we started. If I had disregarded that feeling and just been confident, I think I would have gone through some hurdles a little easier.
So how can people best connect or support your business?
Okay. Well, a fun thing we have coming up is on April the 25th, we have Burgers and Bluegrass at the farm. That's 4915 Pike Road in Montvale. We're going to have Bluegrass. New Standard's going to be performing in the barn, and we'll have Chapel Creek Farm burgers for sale as well. It's $15 per car. We don't care if there's 2 people or 15 people in your car. It's $15 per car. We are a real operating farm, so make sure you wear appropriate footwear. And so we'll have some local vendors. You can buy our beef in the store, but you can also just buy a burger and listen to music as well. So those are fun ways to really connect with us. But then we'll do a couple other events throughout the year, but you can always find us on social media. We have Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, website. So there's ways that you can get up.
You kind of get to meet some of the individual cows on TikTok.
Yes.
And I'm not going to say that there's favorites, but you definitely have favorites because some are featured a lot more than others.
Oh yeah. Lady 791, out of 1,000 cows, she has her own ear tag that's in cursive, says Lady 791. I sent away, there is a TikToker. I'm sorry, her name is Kayla, and I don't know if it's Tennessee or Kentucky, but one of those cool states. Anyway, she has an ear tag business, and she made Lady 791's tag. She has her own tag, other than all the other cows just have numbers. So, then Freckles is also very popular, and she has photobombed several of our photos. The last time when Jen was taking our pictures, I was like, let's just go to the field where Freckles will be, because she will be showboat, and she'll show up. And sure enough, without even any treats, she just shows up, photobombs, does her thing.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. And you did mention beef shares. Are they still available for people to contact you for?
They are. We sell out pretty quickly. May is just about sold out. That's our earliest availability, but we have several spots available May through September.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you for joining us for tea time today. And thank you for joining us as well. If you are interested in finding out more about our guest or about the Central Virginia Business Coalition, or if you'd like to be a guest here on Tea Time with us, you can find out more by going to www.cvabc.org.